It's Monday, January 13. In the headlines, counseling and support services deployed following a tragic fire in St. Ann. The Southeast Regional Health Authority boosts security at health facilities due to threats. In business news, Sagicor Group Jamaica to launch its own digital wallet. Regionally, Guyana likely to provide training for Caribbean teachers. And in sports, the Republic Bank announces window for CPL 2025 set for August. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. The Ministry of Education and partnering agencies have assigned counseling and support services today at schools attended by the children who died in Sunday's house fire in Cottage St. Ann. The victims, who are siblings, have been identified as 7-year-old Tashana, 4-year-old Tashani, and 2-year-old Tavarna Mattis. Education Minister Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon confirmed that the team will visit the schools to provide assistance to students, teachers, and staff who may be affected by the tragedy. An elderly woman and their 5-year-old sibling survived the blaze. It is understood that the woman woke up to fire coming from a room that was occupied by the 3 victims, who are said to have been her grandchildren. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness says he is saddened and outraged following the tragic fire in St. Ann on Sunday that claimed the lives of 3 young children.
Once again, in the second time since the start of the year, the nation mourns a terrible tragedy that should never have occurred of children dying in house fires. It is absolutely heartbreaking to lose 3 innocent lives in such a preventable manner. Every Jamaican child deserves to grow up in a safe environment.
He says children unattended or with little or no supervision should not happen.
Now, while I understand the economic demands on parents, particularly single-parent households, there can be no excuse for leaving children unattended or with little or no supervision, particularly in cases which could not be considered an emergency. In light of this most recent tragedy, I strongly remind parents and guardians of their moral duty to their children and their legal responsibilities under the Child Care and Protection Act.
He says the government is committed to addressing energy poverty.
Late last year, I spoke on the matter of house fires due to open flame lighting resulting in the death of children. Now, while this most recent event is not attributed to open flames, the government is committed to addressing energy poverty and ensuring that all Jamaicans have access to safe, regularized, and affordable electricity to meet their basic living needs.
The Southeast Regional Health Authority has ramped up security at its health facilities after a series of threats against healthcare workers. The move follows allegations of medical negligence surrounding the death of 4-year-old Alexandriana Jones at Bustamante Hospital for Children. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton confirms in a report on the incident and that it's now with the ministry.
They have gotten a preliminary report on the report that was submitted to the Chief Medical Officer. Had a discussion to try and understand the issues. The family will be called in for further conversations around the issue. As I understand it, the child came in with a serious brain illness and had to be operated on. That operation, which was a very complex one, led to the child being placed post-surgery on a life support system. And that would have had its own processes around managing the child's brain functions, which ultimately and very unfortunately led to the demise of the child. So the technical report is not suggesting the child had passed for days before being informed.
Minister Tufton says he'll offer support to baby Alexandriana's family while condemning threats against Bustamante Hospital's staff. Sierra confirms the threats have been reported to the police, and Dr. Tufton is urging the public to stop such actions.
I must condemn the incident of threats being issued, as I am being told, to the staff of the Bustamante Hospital. This is something that is not something we should encourage at all or tolerate. The matter has been reported to the police for their own action and follow-up, and the security arrangements have been improved or increased to support the staff in carrying out their functions. And I want to just say to those who may be involved, may be grieving in the process, or support for those who are grieving, that this is not the way to solve or to resolve an issue.
Dr. Tufton also adds that multiple avenues are available to assist the grieving family in resolving the incident.
We have a grievance procedure in the public health system that allows, in the first instance, an investigation at the level of the institution, then the regional health authority, and then ultimately to the Ministry of Health, the head office, through the chief medical officer, if it's a clinical matter, and ultimately to me, where a particular report is given. Beyond that, there is also the courts, where persons can take action to report a matter and to bring whether an institution or an individual to the highest court of the land for a final decision. So that system works and continues to work. Nowhere in that process involves threats or indeed harm to any individual.
The British High Commission in Jamaica has addressed recent confusion over the UK's new Electronic Travel Authorization, or ETA, policy for visitors. The High Commission clarified that Jamaican nationals are not affected by the new rule and will still need a visa to enter the United Kingdom. The ETA system, which launched on January 8, 2025, applies only to citizens of visa-exempt countries, those who currently don't require a visa to travel to the UK. British High Commissioner to Jamaica, Judith Slater, says the system is part of efforts to strengthen border security and streamline travel management. The High Commission is reminding Jamaicans planning UK visits to stick to the standard visa application process. Time now for the Business Report with Denise Williams.
Welcome to today's Business Report. I'm Denise Williams, here to bring you the stories shaping the financial world and guiding your journey to smarter business decisions. Let's dive into the top headlines. Sagicor Group Jamaica has plans to roll out its digital wallet with capabilities to use Jamdex, Bank of Jamaica issued digital currency. The financial group had previously announced back in July 2023 that it was partnering with the University of Technology Jamaica in creating and testing its mobile wallet SwiftPay. A representative from Sagicor stated, "We are also progressing well in the development of our own digital wallet, which we hope to make available by the fourth quarter of this year." Sagicor is working closely with the Bank of Jamaica to ensure it is ready for deployment. Domestic petroleum subsidiary of West Indies Petroleum, WIP Energy Limited, is gearing up to seek US $80 million or Jamaican $12.8 billion by way of an initial public offering or an IPO. The stock is expected to be issued at a price of US 1 cent or $1.60 Jamaican per share. Of the US $80 million to be raised, US $11.5 million will be allocated to provide working capital for WIP Energy and to pay expenses related to the offer. Selling shareholders will get the remaining US $68.5 million. JMB and Barita Investments have been retained as co-brokers and co-arrangers of WIP Energy's fundraise. With the funds raised, WIP Energy will own the Thrifty gas station and plans to add new locations as part of its future growth. The company sold more than US $300 million worth of fuel in 2023 and net over US $10 million in profit. WIP Energy supplies about 30% of the retail petroleum sold in Jamaica, with Fesco, Unipet, and Superior Gas Company being its biggest customers, accounting just over a third of its sales, according to market sources. For the trading period ending January 10, 2025, these were the most actively traded stocks. Alternative energy provider Wigton Energy Limited, with 2,012,020 units traded, representing 14.56% of market sales volume. Toll road operator Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited, with 1,441,664 units traded, accounting for 10.43% of the market sales volume. Hotel, food and beverage distributor Everything Fresh Limited, with 1,105,000 units traded, making up to 7.99% of market sales volume. Shifting focus to the Forex market. On January 10, 2025, the Bank of Jamaica reported US $51.41 million purchased and US $60.23 million sold by Forex traders. Traders earned $1.40 per dollar, selling the US at $157.22 and buying it at $155.82. The Canadian dollar netted $2.22 per transaction, selling at $110 and buying at $107.78. The British pound yielded $8.37 in profits, selling at $195.07 and buying at $186.70. For the credit report tip of the day, let's face it, rebuilding your credit score when your salary feels stuck and expenses are growing isn't easy, but it's doable. Here are a few tips. Dispute errors. Challenge any inaccuracies dragging down your credit score. Also, pay on time. Late payments hurt. Automate bills or set reminders to stay consistent. And third, tackle collections accounts. Negotiate with collection agencies to settle for less or pay in full to remove these items off of your credit score. Now, in a space of recovery and resilience, feeling overwhelmed by financial challenges can take a toll on your emotions and confidence, especially as a professional woman over the age of 45, balancing career, family, and personal aspirations. But recovery and resilience are possible. Here's a roadmap. First, assess your starting point. Face the numbers. Review your income, expenses, debts, and savings. Awareness is the first step to transformation. Second, set clear financial goals. Focus on achievable milestones like paying off one credit card, building a 3-month emergency fund, or increasing your retirement contribution. And that wraps up today's business report. I'm Denise Williams, reminding you that every financial decision is a step forward to your future. Until next time, stay focused, stay informed, and keep striving for success. See you soon.
In regional news, Guyana is looking to expand its reach in education. On Friday, Education Minister Priya Manik-Chand announced plans to potentially train teachers from at least 2 Caribbean countries through the Cyril Potter College of Education's online program. More in this developing report.
3 years after the Cyril Potter College of Education, CPCE, started online training for teachers in Guyana, the program is in discussion to be shared with other Caribbean countries. This was revealed by Education Minister Premanik Chand during a review of the education sector for 2024. She disclosed having discussions with Grenada and Barbados, among other countries, about extending the online program for teachers in those countries.
So our teacher training story has been a really remarkable successful story for us here in Guyana. And I'd be happy to tell you that because we're online, we have been approached by at least 2 Caribbean countries, colleagues who have asked about how they could, their teachers, much smaller numbers than ours, could benefit from this online training that we have. And that is something we're currently exploring with them because, of course, Guyana, once we have something, we share it.
Highlighting the success of online learning for Guyanese, Minister Manik Chand was optimistic about training teachers from other countries.
It's an online program, so we would have to work out how teaching practice is done in those countries if we were to use this. But we are studying, 29,000 and something Guyanese are studying in other universities in other countries, and it works. So online can work regardless of where we are.
Meanwhile, between 2020 and 2024, some 4,738 teachers in Guyana have been trained. This is a result of expanding training programs so more teachers can access without leaving their homes.
We also asked the University of Guyana to take their program online. By their program, I mean their degree program. And so there's no need for teachers to ask for leave to exit. Before, all the teachers would know that only 2 or 3 of them could go to UG at any given point.
But now there are no limits. Entire schools can pursue their education degrees simultaneously without interfering with their teaching hours because of online learning. For Newsroom, Isanelo Patwo.
Still in Guyana, amid discussions about the human metapneumovirus, HMPV, Guyana's Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony, says the Caribbean Public Health Agency is equipped to diagnose the virus and no major challenges are expected. He stresses the need for robust systems to manage such diseases and highlighted Guyana's progress in handling viral outbreaks. More in this story.
We have been checking. We haven't had any cases here, and in the region, CARFA has the capability of being able to diagnose. And in fact, this is not a new thing. This is something that has been around for many years, and looking at the disease profile, it is not one where you have high fatality rates. So it's not a new disease. It's something that has been around and been in existence. It's not a new pathogen. We have had cases of, let's say, like a cousin of this particular disease, which is RSV, and we have been able to manage them quite successfully. So we don't anticipate a challenge, but since we have seen whatever is going on globally, we have made sure that we would be able to collect samples and being able to send those samples for the diagnosis. If people get sick and they come into one of our facilities or they come for a test, we'll obviously be able to take that sample and then be able to make the diagnosis. And that's what everybody else is doing. So look, with infectious diseases, one of the things that you will see happening is that you will have many more of these things coming to the fore. What is important is that you have a system where you're prepared to manage them. And in Guyana, we have done quite a lot of work to manage viral diseases. And in fact, this year, we will do even more work because last year we had applied to the pandemic fund and we have received $15 million to help us to strengthen our surveillance system and to help us to strengthen our laboratory system and also to recruit and have more specialists in the Ministry of Health. So we will be rolling out that project. We are expecting that we'll get sometime in March, those monies would become effective, and the project would be over the next 3 years. So this would also help us to strengthen whatever we do. We're not preparing for a single disease. This would help us to enhance the system so that if there's anything in the animal population that jumps into the human population, we'll be able to detect it and have a stronger approach to viruses in the human population.
A wide cross-section of local stakeholders met for a post-hurricane review workshop focusing on assessing strengths, identifying weaknesses, and finding solutions. The goal is to analyze disaster coordination effects and finalize an action plan to enhance Grenada's response to future emergencies.
A wide cross-section of local stakeholders is currently engaged in a post-Hurricane Beryl after-action review workshop aimed at identifying areas of weaknesses and building on strengths to improve Grenada's response to any future disasters or hazards. The workshop is a collaborative effort between the National Disaster Management Agency, NADMA, and the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, CDEMA, with funding provided by the CDEMA Emergency Assistance Fund. Dr. Terence Walters is the National Disaster Coordinator.
We had Hurricane Beryl in July of 2024, and it is important for us to review the actions of the National Disaster Organization as to how we performed, things that were done well and things that are weaknesses and strengths, and we can take the necessary actions to address any of the issues that may have come up during our response to Hurricane Beryl in 2024.
Dr. Walters says the intended outcome is a draft report, including recommendations put forward by stakeholders. The report will then be submitted to Cabinet for approval. Following Hurricane Beryl, the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, CDEMA, was evident as the entity provided support in a number of areas visibly in Grenada, providing support in several areas including emergency relief, operational support, and rapid needs assessment. Mandela Christian, Program Manager for Preparedness and Response for CDEMA, explained that it is customary to conduct a postmortem.
So CDEMA's role here is to be, I guess, the outside non-bias factor, because, tensions can run a bit high sometimes in these situations. And we are not trying to blame, it's not about blaming anyone or saying, okay, that was so-and-so fault and so forth. It's really just to capture the real honest feedback on how things went and to be objective. And at the end of this, what we would like to see is some recommendations for, one, enhancing your current national disaster plans and protocols. And secondly, we want to have a comprehensive report outlining the findings, what the strengths, the weaknesses, and the areas for improvement. And then we want to develop, or we will develop, a plan of action with short-term or immediate, medium, and long-term recommendations.
Carriacou and Petite Martinique were among the hardest hit by Hurricane Beryl. Dwight Logan, District Coordinator for Petite Martinique, and Bernice Date, Community Program Officer on Carriacou, are among the participants. In an interview with the media on day one of the discussion, both individuals highlighted one of the biggest challenges faced during and after Hurricane Beryl.
We getting there slowly but surely. Our biggest problem is skilled workers in order to help to put back the roofs of houses and so on. So that's our main problem now. Being here, I'm able to highlight our strengths and our weaknesses that we had during, and even now after Hurricane Beryl.
Well, I believe one of the major challenges, not myself, but the agency and also other agencies would have faced is that of communication, because of course everything went down. We had no means of communicating until we were able to get some assistance with Starlink. So going forward, it's something that we have to look at from the agency standpoint, how we can improve on our communication system.
Christina John, GBN News.
With carnival season bringing a surge in air and cruise ship travel and often a spike in respiratory illnesses, Trinidad and Tobago's Health Minister Terence Dal Singh and officials are addressing common misconceptions about influenza and the common cold.
So the question is, why I got the vaccine, I still got the common cold. The vaccine does not protect you against the common cold, which does not cause death. This vaccine gives you protection against H1N1, H3N2, which is the main two influenza A subtypes that causes epidemics.
General Manager of Primary Care Services for the Northwest Regional Health Authority, Dr. Leslie Ann Roper, compared the severity and the symptoms of the common cold and influenza.
To protect against the harmful effects of the influenza, which could lead to pneumonia, hospitalizations, and death. So that is the difference. The common cold, you can still function. It's a mild respiratory disease, whereas influenza can lead you flat out. And for those who are predisposed, it can even lead to death.
Minister Dal Singh clarified why the influenza vaccine is needed on a yearly basis.
The influenza season runs from October of any year to May to June of the following year. So a lot of people say, well, I took the shot in February of 2024. Do I still need to take it in the following flu season? The answer is yes. The vaccine is only effective against the viruses for that particular flu season. It's an annual thing, not by a calendar year, but by the flu season year.
Stacey Edward, TDT News.
In sports, we kick off our sportscast with football. Defending champions, Cavalier FC moved to within 3 points of the top 3 places in the Jamaica Premier League on Sunday, after beating a stubborn Dumbleholden United 2-0 in their second round game played at Dumbleholden Sports Complex. On to cricketing news, as cricket aficionados can start planning their travel early with the Republic Bank's Caribbean Premier League announcing the specific window for the 2025 tournament.
On Friday, it was announced that the 2025 Republic Bank Caribbean Premier League, CPL, will take place from Thursday, August 14th to Sunday, September 21st. In a press release, CPL said that the window has been agreed between CPL and Cricket West Indies, CWI, and once again, there will be no clash with West Indies international matches. The 6 teams taking part in the 2025 season will be Antigua and Barbuda Falcons, Barbados Royals, Guyana Amazon Warriors, St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots, St. Lucia Kings, and Trinbago Knight Riders. The teams will compete across 34 matches to decide who will claim the 2025 CPL title, which is currently held by St. Lucia Kings. Pete Russell, the Chief Executive Officer of the Republic Bank CPL, said, and I quote, "We are pleased to have once again worked with Cricket West Indies to find a window that allows the very best players from across the region to take part in the CPL. The 2024 season was our most successful to date, and we are looking forward to building on that success in 2025. Linford Inverary, Cricket West Indies acting CEO and COO, said that the regional cricket body is delighted to confirm the 2025 CPL window. He said, and I quote, "While CWI continues to take a leading role in shaping our overall cricket calendar, the CPL remains a key part of our cricketing ecosystem, playing an important role in the development and promotion of the game throughout the Caribbean. Our collaboration with CPL ensures that the best talent will be on display while avoiding any conflicts with international cricket." End quote. Meanwhile, the finals will be hosted in Guyana in 2025 through a 1-year deal after the country hosted for the last 3 years in succession, while Barbados will host the finals for the first time in 2026.
And that's it for the news on PBCJ. You can follow us on our social media platforms at PBCJamaica. Thanks for watching.